What was your take on the draft?
Loved it. If you had told me that by the end of you told me like last Wednesday, and said by the end of the second day, Jordan Davis, the Kobe Dean, and A.J. Brown were going to be Eagles, I would have said, just don't wake me up. I mean, it would seem like a good dream.
I'm not hating. Okay? No way, man. I just having a little fun because I heard Howie on with Angelo, and I got you. We all should get T-shirts made. I got you. And by the way, he should be taking victory laps. And I mean this. It's been a great offseason. My only issue would be this. It's May 3rd. I would like to underpromise and overdeliver is my only thing, okay? I want to go out and beat teams up and then go, I told you. Don't doubt me. Person we never doubt is the legendary voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. It is our friend Merrill Reese, and he joins us right now. Merrill.
Hi, Dan. Got
you.
You do.
Hey, man, I mean, I got to give it, hey, Howie's going around. He's taking victory laps, and I said this, look, he should. It's been a hell of an offseason for him right now. Your thoughts on the draft in the offseason here for the Philadelphia Eagles is what?
Very, very positive. Very, very excited. But I always say victory laps, they begin sometime after the middle of September.
That's what I was trying to tell folks. I go, look, it's great to be this excited, right, Merrill, in May. But September is right around the corner, and we're truly going to find out, you know, what this football team is going to look like and how they're going to perform in an NFC. And by the way, I think they're one of the teams that could be in the top 5. I'll get to that here in a second, but let's start here and go in chronological order here. What was your take on the draft?
Loved it. If you had told me that by the end of you told me like last Wednesday, and said by the end of the second day, Jordan Davis, the Kobe Dean, and A.J. Brown were going to be Eagles, I would have said, just don't wake me up. I mean, it would seem like a good dream because we spoke, and I told you all along that the player that I most wanted was Jordan Davis. I mean, he was the guy. This team needed somebody who was a difference maker at the line of scrimmage. And that's exactly what he was and is. And the other thing is, you're taking two of the biggest impact players from the national championship team. Two of the biggest reasons that Georgia beat Alabama were Jordan Davis and the Kobe Dean. And they're Eagles. That to me is amazing. And then you throw in Cam Jurgens, who is a very, very good center. And I had people say, well, why'd they do that? I mean, why don't they go defense? Why don't they get the best safety? Why don't they get the best corner? And the reason for that became clear when Jason Kelce, the all-pro center, who is winding it down. I mean, he still plays at a high level, but there were a lot of question marks as to whether he would come back last year and then this year. But I think this is probably it for Jason Kelce. And when you can get somebody as good as Cam Jurgens, as Jason Kelce thinks he is, and that's fine for me, who just looked at all his tapes, and have him here for a year to understudy Kelce, maybe play guard if he has to, just become an NFL player so that next year, now I'm just presuming, but let's say, I think realistically, Dan, I think this is a good team. And I think it's a team that has a good shot to go to the playoffs and maybe make some noise. Would you call them an odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl? No, not quite yet. But chances are next year they could be in that situation, and they don't have to make a change where they're trying to find somebody desperately to replace one of their best players. So that made sense too.
Merrill, I know you know Eli Gold. He's the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know you know him.
Never met him. I've admired him, but never met him.
Oh, he is also one of the legendary voices in college football. And he texts me and he goes, he believes that the Eagles got the two best players off that national championship team. And he goes, to him, it seemed that the Eagles got two first-rounders on 2 days. One when they got Jordan Davis, and then the other when they got Nakobe Dean. Whatever reason, we see this all the time in Merrill. We've seen this over the years in the NFL draft. Players fall sometimes. They just fall for whatever reason, agents, some rumors that may not be true.
Look how Dan Marino, now he stayed in the first round, but he went 28th. Way after quarterbacks who really had modest careers at best.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you're talking about like Tony Eason and guys like that. And
yeah,
Dan Marino fell all
Todd Blackledge.
Todd Blackledge fell all the way to 28th. So, yeah. So, again, how about this one, too? You could have knocked me over with a wooden nickel if you told me A.J. Brown and $100 million and the Eagles make that move. Merrill, the secret in this move is his age. He's a number one wideout at 24. Yeah. How shocked were you with that move?
Shocked. And at that point, before it occurred, I'm thinking, boy, now one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, and I felt they needed one, was Treylon Burks. I think he's going to be a terrific player. But now you're getting a guy who doesn't need that year to adjust. As good as wide receivers are, and occasionally you find an outlier who plays right away and plays well, but there is an adjustment period that they have to go through. There's no adjustment period for A.J. Brown. You are getting a potential elite receiver who is game NFL ready. And you put him on one side and you put Devontae Smith, and then you add Quez Watkins, who's blindingly fast. And then Nick picked up a receiver that he knows, Zach Pascal from Indianapolis, and they still have Greg Ward. They're loaded. And then, you're talking about receivers. And then, of course, you have a very, very good, anyhow, receiving tight end in Dallas Goedert. And you have very capable backs. And a great offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. This offensive side of things is loaded.
Would you agree now, Merrill, that, I was a little suspect if they were going to give Jalen Hurts their true opportunity to win this job. Now that you've added this component here with A.J. Brown, and like you said, best O-line in football, best running attack, now you've got a number one wide receiver. He's been given an opportunity and a true opportunity to win this job and to be the face of the future of this team.
Agree. That's what they have done. And I'm sure he relishes it. I'm sure that he's thrilled that he has this opportunity. And he hopefully will grow as this team continues to succeed. I like him a lot. But I think this is a big thing. I think this, if you want to surround the quarterback with the best pieces for him to succeed, they have done that. They have really done that. And it's up to him to flourish, which I think he will take full advantage of.
Merrill, it has to be a good sign, too. And I didn't think, and by the way, it shocked me. And I know that there's a relationship, and he tried recruiting A.J. Brown to Alabama, and he ended up going to Ole Miss. And there's a friendship there that those guys have had since they were teenagers. But I think it's also a great sign, isn't it? That you got a kid out there that's recruiting players to come and play in Philly, and these players are receptive, especially the wideout position, where the Eagles haven't been traditionally overly rich at that position in the franchise's history. They want to come and play in Philly with this kid. To me, I think that says a lot about the player.
It says a lot about the player. It says a lot about the the culture that the organization is building, about the facilities that they have, about the ownership of this team. It says a lot of good things about the Eagles organization from top to bottom.
Do you think they're a top 5 team in the NFC? Merrill, I went like this. I put these teams out there, and I wrote these teams down. And I said, Rams 1, Bucks 2, Packers 3, Arizona, and then I went Eagles. I mean, are they better than the Cowboys? I think they are, because the Cowboys lost an edge rusher. Amari Cooper's loss is going to be felt. They're older in the O-line. Their only offseason move they've made was a guard from Tulsa. I mean, I think, again, and then you got the Giants situation. They didn't pick up the 5th year on Daniel Jones. But Washington is in a transition. Yeah. They don't know what Carson's going to do. I mean, you got to look. They're at least the best team and the team to beat in the NFC East.
Yeah, I think they're close. I'm not about to put them ahead of Dallas in off-season moves. I want to see it on the field before I put them ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. I would think that the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles are the teams with the best chance of winning this division this year. But I try to steady things until we actually see. I mean, this team is not complete yet, and they have some holes in the secondary. Now, again, they're helped out by Nakobe Dean. And T.J. Edwards is a pretty good young linebacker, too. And they're going to be helped up, certainly up front with what Jordan Davis is going to bring them. And there are other good players. But I'm still, who's the other corner right now? You have Big Play Slay on one side. Who do you have on the other? I mean, last year they got some decent play from Steven Nelson, but he's gone. So, and then there's the safety position. You have Kayvon Wallace, who hasn't really come into his own yet, and you lost Rodney McLeod. And Rodney McLeod's been a pretty good player. He's had some injuries lately, but Rodney McLeod has been the glue of that safety area since Malcolm Jenkins left. So now, I'm not saying that there isn't somebody on the roster who's going to step up, or a young player who will get an opportunity in the training camp and come up. But right now, I say they have, if you were rating on 1 to 10, I would say and 10 being the best, I would say their offense, I'd give them a 9.5 or maybe a 9, because Hurts is still in the growing phase. But I think they're up there. I think they're almost there offensively. But
two last questions for you, Merrill. Let me throw this one here at you here. The benchmark is always going to be the 2017 team. And to me, as I've told you before, I think one of the reasons that they were so dominant was because of their lines, O-line and D-line, and the combination on how good they were. And they were able to replace guys because of depth and how powerful they were on those two units. Do you see the similarities now, because the depth level on the defense now and the rotations? I mean, Jordan Davis, I would imagine, is probably going to be the rotation guy until they can work him in. You're going to have Hardgrave and Fletcher in there. You're going to have Sweat, and you're going to have Reddick. And then you're going to have the rest of those players that are going to be rotational. It's a pretty deep unit, plus the O-line. Are we starting to see a little bit of that being rebuilt again like it was in 17?
Well, I think you are, but I think Jordan Davis is going to start from day one.
Oh, okay.
I really do. And we'll see about but if he doesn't, he's going to rotate and play as much as anybody. I think he's a guy who is ready to go. Will be ready to go by the time the season begins. The other thing, Dan, a lot of people don't pay too much attention to the undrafted free agents, but there's a name that intrigues me, because I love college football. I watch millions of games, and I used to turn on Utah to see this kid, Britton Covey, the return man. That guy, there was a buzz every time he went back for a punt or a kickoff, and I watched him. He's only 5'8", 160-something pounds, and
he reminds me of Danny Woodhead.
Oh, I think he's faster. I think he's got more moves. I mean, he is unbelievable returning the ball, and they haven't had a good return man since Darren Sproles.
Finally here, we're going to learn a little bit more about Nick Sirianni now, too, being able to work all these offensive pieces in now, too. I have no doubt, because he comes from the Frank Reich coaching tree there and Doug Peterson. Do you agree that we're going to learn a little bit more, though, about how he is going to be able to improve this passing game? You know, Matt Nagy won a division title a couple years ago, Merrill, and was the NFL Coach of the Year. You're only gauged on the last season you coach, you know, so everyone knows, just like when Ray Rhodes, I think he won a couple Coach of the Year awards, and he was still fired. So we're going to learn a little bit more about Nick over these next 2 years, are we not?
Well, I think the thing we've learned about Nick Sirianni is his passion, the fact that he has the right culture here, which Doug did too. I think he's following an outstanding coach. I think Doug could end up as the Coach of the Year in Jacksonville. But I think that Nick is a bright young coach. He's got some good assistants around him. He knows the game, but he is respected. We already know that the players really play for him, and he has that ability to get everybody ready and excited about the next game. And he has the respect. They like him and respect him, which is important. And I think he's going to be a real good coach, and he'll grow as this team continues to grow.
Well, Merrill, as Howie Roseman would say, I got you.
Remember this, nobody has anybody until, as Buddy Ryan used to say, until the snowflakes start to fall. He said, don't tell me anything of the warm weather. He said, we'll see what we have when the snow flurries start to fall.
And so all of you listening, he's saying when the pucker factor truly starts in September, that's when we'll know what we have. Merrill, it is always great. You're a legend. I love you, and you always find time for me. Thank you so much, my friend.
See you, Dan. Have a good day.
You got it, Merril Reese. That's right. Hey, man, the pucker factor starts in September, my friends. Always remember that. Hey, don't forget, my dear friends at Morgan & Morgan, they tell you this all the time. The fee is free. Choosing that attorney is one of the most important things you can possibly do. Know this here. If you're hurt or you're injured on the job, Morgan & Morgan is the place for you to get that attorney. Finding that attorney to get fair compensation for you and your family is one of the most, if not the most important things when you're going for a settlement like this. For the people, it's not a slogan. It's who they are. It's what they do. God, I've heard this for 25 years, and John Morgan is so behind this, and he believes in this mantra ever since he and his wife started this company 25 plus years ago. Hey, last 30 years, they have put out over $13 billion in compensation for their clients. That's exactly what Morgan & Morgan is. They're the biggest law firm in the country to do battle for you, with over 800 attorneys in offices in Philly, New York, Florida, across the country. Not a bigger firm in the country to make sure they do battle, and you're not going to be intimidated because of Morgan & Morgan. The call is free, 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The consultation is free, 800-512-1600. And do me a favor, when you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Big Sil sent you.
After a car crash, the big insurance companies you see advertising on TV, they may try to downplay your case and might say it's only a fender bender or it's just a herniated disc. I worry that some law firms fall for this BS. Not us. We put ourselves in your shoes and ask, what would it be like to be in your pain for the rest of our lives? $1 million wouldn't be enough for me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.